Look at this. I got headphones on. I got a mic going. Baby.
If
Huh?
only people could see you now.
Hey, no video. We've gone through this before.
All right,
No
all right,
video.
all right. Welcome to This Commerce Life. This is a podcast aimed at small, medium entrepreneurs focused on commerce. I'm Phil, your host, and Kenny, your co-host, will join us as well. And we're going to talk to you about the world of retail and commerce and how things are changing in the world.
Tested for COVID,
Oh,
I think, and then I just.
Oh, yeah.
But you came back okay,
Yeah.
right? You're all good in the hood.
Good. Good.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Look at him. He looks beautiful. He's in good shape. Better than me and you, Phil. And we haven't gone for testing. He's still better than us.
For a guy who's not feeling well, you look pretty good.
You look good.
That's true.
Oh, I was excited. I was on 5 minutes early. I'm never early. I was on. Just thinking, I'm not being late for this one.
What?
I know.
That's amazing.
I totally see. I was so excited to have Arjan on. I just got all giddy. I had to get on early.
Holy crap.
It's been so
What's
long.
that?
As I just want to give you a hug, Kenny. It's been so long.
Hey, we can't hug.
I know.
You can't hug. And a virtual hug is useless. I hate virtual hugs. Same thing. I like hugging people. I felt it's driving me mental.
Come on, Kenny. You can't feel it? I'm giving you a hug now. There.
No. No, not same. No.
I think that just succeeded in making you uncomfortable now.
No, if we were live, I'd like to give you a hug. These virtual hugs are useless. I don't understand them.
It's fantastic.
They stress me out. So, Arjan, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a whirlwind the last few months. I just came back from Wisconsin. I visited our factory there, actually, in Wisconsin.
Nice.
Oh, that's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. How was, is that your first kind of time on a plane in the last little bit, or?
It is. I crossed the border into our Blaine, Washington facility about 4 or 5 times during the COVID crisis, but it was the first time in the air since COVID hit, and it's a unique experience traveling again.
Oh, that must be weird.
It's got to be weird.
The airport was empty. I was literally the only person in security.
Wow.
There's 17 people on the flight, including the pilots and the flight attendants.
That's weird.
130. And everyone was wearing masks, of course, now. And I don't know, I felt safe. I didn't feel exposed in a way. That's just because there's so few people around me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably better socially distanced there than you were on the ground.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Better than an outdoor bar or a patio.
Oh, exactly, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But everyone in our company was scared of me coming back, and so I had to take extra precautions and get it.
It's fine though. They don't blame them. I mean, what the hell, right? It's people are worried. You know.
I don't blame them at all. I just
just kind of weird.
Yeah, it is.
Man. So we've got, for our listeners, as usual, Kenny and I wandered into this. We've got Arjan Stephens, General Manager of Nature's Path on. So we're excited to have you on the program. Kenny's been excited for...
Oh, I'm stoked. I love it.
I don't think I've ever seen you this excited.
And we're going to tell Fardad too, because my wife loves Fardad. I'll tell you our story, actually. We've done 130 some episodes, right? My wife hasn't given a rat's ass to any single episode. Doesn't even care what we're doing. Doesn't even know what we're doing. As soon as Fardad goes on an episode, all of a sudden we got to listen to the podcast. So now I'm going to give Fardad the gears, because see, you were the one I was most excited about for a bunch of reasons. So I'll give a little introduction. I've known Arjan now probably about 12 or 13 years, just a bit pre Richard Lote, right? Because I think you were getting more involved in the family company. You came in with probably Tree of Life while we were still buying from Tree, just before we went direct with you guys as London Drugs. Always liked, I'll say that to you because you're here, even if you weren't, always liked him. Nice young man, really have a lot of respect for him. Love the family story. Love the story of how the kids are coming through the company. So a lot of this, Arjan, was what I was really hoping to do is for you to tell our audience the story of Nature's Path, which is phenomenal. And we can also talk about Que Pasa, which you're also the god of that world. So we'll do that too. But more to give people a bit of inspiration on what it's like to start a family business, and when nobody wanted to do necessarily anything in this space, and how it went from just an idea and a concept from your dad all through the family where you're at today. Would love to get your insights on pre-COVID, where you thought the market was, where it is in COVID, and maybe what you're anticipating. We'll call it post-mad COVID, but probably still within COVID. And give us some insights what you think in retail in general. Where do you think it's going? Where's online going to be? Where's bricks and mortar? Just to pick your brain a little bit. No trade secrets. You don't have to divulge anything crazy. You know, this episode, I don't know if Amelia will be listening, so, you know, might not get my wife. We have a few people that listen, so. But I was super excited to have you on because I think you provide a much different perspective, because you guys started small. You're very large in CPG now. You're in 40 plus countries, if not more. And I really like you. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to have you on and get some, pick your brains for an hour or so, or whatever time you have. So that's who our guest is. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so, I mean, Nature's Path was really born on a hope and a prayer. My father was born on a berry farm in Vancouver Island, in Duncan, Vancouver Island. And my grandfather, he survived World War I. He lied about his age. He went off to the trenches of World War I. Fought there, was one of two people in his battalion who survived World War I, the trenches.
Wow.
He came back to Vancouver Island, and he found peace and harmony through farming. And in the 40s and 50s, that was a big green revolution when pesticides and herbicides and all these chemicals were being used to bump up the crops and kill all the bugs that were on the farms. But my grandfather, he eschewed all those things. He said, there has to be a better way. And he put up a sign on his farm, said, no toxic chemicals or poisons used here. And he took my dad down to the beaches of Vancouver Island, and together they would collect the kelp and the seaweed from the beaches. They brought it back to the farm, spread it between the rows of the strawberries and raspberries. And he told my dad, always leave the earth better than you found it. So that was where my dad grew up, Vancouver Island, until he was 14 years old. And my grandfather had a big dream to become a songwriter in Hollywood. So they sold the farm, moved the whole family to Hollywood, and he pursued a songwriting career. He had a few number one hits with some great singers, but it wasn't quite as successful as he'd hoped. And my dad struggled as a teenager. He went from being a straight A student to dropping out of high school, actually, at the age of 15. And he lived on the streets for a while. And his journey took him to India, where he found a meditation and spiritual teacher. And he came back to Canada and started the first vegetarian restaurant in Vancouver in British Columbia in 1967. It was called the Golden Lotus. So started it with $7 and a $1,500 loan. And that's how Nature's Path eventually got started, through this little restaurant. It became like a commune for hippies and draft dodgers and all sorts of folks in the 60s. And 1969, he married my mom. He went back to India. They had an arranged marriage. My dad's white, my mom's Indian. And the workers wanted to turn the restaurant into a commune. So they ended up selling the restaurant to these workers for like $1,000, I think it was at the time.
Oh my God.
Used that money to start a health food store. So started the first health food store in Vancouver in 1971. It was called Lifestream Natural Foods. And from there started making their own products, because at the time it was 2,000 square foot store, and they didn't have enough products to put on the store shelves. There wasn't enough natural organic food products to put on the store shelves. So they started manufacturing apple juice and bread, and they had a little flour mill inside the store, grinding the flour. And
wow.
Yeah, it was on 4th Avenue in Kitsilano, was the health food store, Lifestream Natural Foods. And eventually we brought on some partners that didn't work out so well. And in 1981, they sold the business. It ended up being acquired by Nabisco. Kraft Philip Morris, the cigarette company, eventually bought Nabisco. And they started another little restaurant, vegetarian food restaurant called Woodlands Natural Foods in 1985. And that was what I remember growing up, working in the restaurant as a busboy, dishwasher. They liked child labor because it was their own child.
Cheap.
Me and my sisters all worked in the business. And then my dad, he expanded to 3 different restaurants, my mom and dad together, but they always dreamed big. They thought organic food and natural food was going to be in the mainstream one day.
Mm-hmm.
And they started selling this bread product called manna bread. And it's based on this ancient biblical recipe. It says, take unto thee barley and millet and rye, sprout it into jars, grind it, and unto thee you'll have manna. So kind of what the Israelites were eating as they were wandering through the desert, running away from the Pharaoh and trying to find a homeland. So this product is actually still on the market today. My brother-in-law owns the business with my sister. It's called Manna Bread today. And from there, in 1989, they decided to open up the first certified organic breakfast cereal plant. And that was in Delta, British Columbia. And it was a big risk at the time. The bankers, everyone said, hey, isn't Kellogg's and these big companies, aren't they just going to squash you? You know, these guys have so much power. How are you going to break into the cereal market? And at the time, my dad said, have you heard of David? Have you heard of Goliath? So I think that's been sort of the focus of Nature's Path, really focused on organic food. At the time when Nature's Path was started, the organic food market was only a few $1 million in sales across North America. Today, just in North America alone, it's close to $40-50 billion industry.
Yeah.
So Nature's Path started, had no idea how to make cereal. I remember my dad sleeping at the factory. I didn't see him for like 8 months, except on Sundays. When he would come home, he was just there constantly sleeping in the factory. None of the equipment would work. They took on some investor money, and the investors, friends and family were saying, well, what's happening? Are we going to get our returns? They broke every single bank covenant and mortgaged the house 6 times just to keep the business afloat.
Wow.
So fortunately, the restaurant was still going and the restaurant was still making money. But if it wasn't for the restaurant and them mortgaging their house, Nature's Path would have went bankrupt. And one supplier, our oat supplier, gave us a loan for $250,000 because we couldn't pay the bill. We couldn't pay the bill for all the oats they were supplying. And the supplier believed in us and said, hey, we'll give you a loan. And we paid them back with interest. And today, that supplier is our largest supplier. They supply us close to $45 million a year just of ingredients.
Wow.
So
that is exceptional conviction. I to remortgage the house 6 times, not once, not twice, but 6 times is amazing. And then you add on that, a raw ingredient supplier footing you a $250,000 loan is like, those are individually amazing facts, but stacked on top of each other.
It's a big deal.
Remarkable.
I mean, I know your mom and dad. I mean, I don't know your mom and dad, but I know your mom and dad, right? When I'm always fascinated when couples can do, because your mom is, let's do it this way. If you take your mom and dad and look at the business, one's going to be the doer and one's going to be probably the thinker, right? I'm assuming your mom's probably a lot of the thinker for sure, and your dad is probably a lot of the doer. But to have a couple that's willing to go into something like this together, that's a lot of risk. 6 times a mortgage on the house. You got kids. That's
a lot.
That's a lot.
I remember lots of fights growing up, because there was just so much pressure. And my dad went to my mom in 1990 when none of the equipment was running. Nothing worked for 6 months. So they were just producing.
You're just bleeding.
Yeah, it was going to the cows and pigs of British Columbia as animal feed, basically.
Wow.
So at the last possible moment, after getting 4 different experts to come in and try to figure out how to make cornflakes, the last expert at the last possible moment said, "Oh, just throw a bucket of water in the extruder at this particular point," and we started making cornflakes. So
Unbelievable. Eh?
A bucket of water.
A bucket of water. There's a revolution. Eh? Oh, that's a revelation.
The equipment supplier ended up giving the equipment for free. It was close to $700,000 piece of equipment from Germany, and they couldn't get it to run. So they're like, "Look, we're just going to give this to you because you've already lost way more than this."
Unbelievable.
So
that's amazing.
At the grand opening, the premier was there, the mayor, all the banks who loaned all the money to get this business off the ground, and nothing was running. So they ran to the store. They bought cases of cornflakes, and they sprinkled it on the line. So that when all the bankers and the politicians
look, we're doing it.
They said, "Oh yeah, look at the cornflakes. They're on the assembly line."
Oh my God.
You're not the first startup to
to fudge it a little bit.
That's amazing. Awesome. That's so fantastic.
You know, I think the banker came up to my dad and said, "You know, we need to see it running. You know, why can't we have it running?" My dad said, "You know, it'd be too loud if we turn on all the equipment. You know, we have to, otherwise you wouldn't be able to hear anyone talk." So, yeah. So fortunately, they got out of it. My parents learned that it was very hard to have partners, so they bought out they went to every single investor at the time and paid them, 20 or 30% return for that year that they had their money in the business. And they just said, "Look, we're going to do this on our own and figure out how to make this work." And that was kind of how it was. And one of my dad's favorite sayings is from Winston Churchill: "Never, never, never give up." So
it's amazing.
That's
amazing.
What a story, though. What perseverance. I mean, the fact that he started at a time when nobody really, probably, for the most part, I mean, lucky it's BC, but really nobody cared. People were buying Kellogg's and whatever else in terms of the cereal, even in terms of restaurants. You know, you weren't going to have a whole swack of, if you were going to have vegetarian restaurants, it was going to be in BC, but it wasn't like we had billions of them either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's quite a ballsy adventure to go on for that long. And obviously the perseverance of your folks is amazing, because 8 months, I mean, yeah, I don't know if I think Amelia would kill me if I was gone 6 months sleeping in the factory and mortgaging the house. No. Seriously, I think
any one of those things. That's remortgaging your house 6 times. Like most couples fight over one mortgage, not six.
Half a mortgage.
Not six times, or half a mortgage to be gone. I think the longest I was ever away when I was with J&J was 3 weeks, because I went back to back to back. And when I came home, it was chilly in the house.
I think I did 11 days in Asia, and it was pretty cold.
Yeah, I didn't make nice hard, otherwise it wasn't gonna work. So, and now Nature's Path, you've got. I realized that I've actually eaten a whole bunch of your things and just never known it. And so, like the waffles, I've 100% had. I have a number of friends that are celiac and things like that, and so they've eaten the gluten-free products and things like that. So waffles, I've had your waffles. I've had the granola. I think I've had the cereal too, and I've liked all of it. It's kind of amazing, right? So now you've got all these just amazing product lines.
Thank you, Phil. We also purchased Que Pasa 6.5 years ago. It's another local Vancouver phenomenon. It started 2 years before Nature's Path, actually, 1983. Okay. And it was started by 2 Jewish brothers who immigrated here from California. A lot of people don't know this, but tortilla chips were invented in California. A restaurant there just started leftover tortillas and fried them, and then soon everyone copied them because they tasted so good. So,
wait, so Que Pasa, I know Que Pasa. This is a great brand.
This is Arjan, and this was sort of your baby, right? This is what you've you obviously spend all the time in Nature's Path too, but this is sort of your thing, for lack of a better.
This is your fault, Arjan. This is your fault. You know this bag? I know this bag. You know how I know this bag? Because every time I go to Costco, someone says, get that bag of tortillas. Is this the one? And I always go, that's enormous. We're never going to eat that. And we eat it in like a weekend. It's your fault.
Highly addictive, man. Highly addictive. Highly addictive.
Stand up and show me your love handles or something. Say, this is all your.
I know. Mm-hmm.
No. That's why we do a podcast. We don't do video. We don't do video. We have the face and bodies for radio.
But I have to say, Que Pasa is a great thing to have during pandemic.
Sales really got up during the pandemic, and people want more nachos and more comfort. And these chips are so unique. That's why we bought the company. The two brothers, they came to Vancouver. They saw there's no good Mexican food. They opened up a little deli. Then they started chopping and frying their own tortillas, putting them into brown paper bags. A buyer from IGA Safeway walked in and said, hey, we love these. Why don't you sell them to us? So they started bagging them for IGA. Then Costco came, and London Drugs and Save on Foods, and then Loblaws eventually.
It's amazing.
These chips are made unlike anyone else because, similar to us, we didn't know how to make cereal. So we had to invent a new way of making cereal. So our flakes don't get mushy like say the big K.
That's why I love them.
Yeah.
They last 4 times longer in milk.
Yeah.
Really?
You can get a crunch right to the last scoop of milk.
And same with tortilla chips. Nobody makes tortilla chips the same way, because after we bought Que Pasa, we talked to 40 different companies saying, hey, can you help us supply this extra demand that we've gotten? And nobody can make them the same way. So
really,
today, this little Mexican food company in Delta, British Columbia, now we have another factory in Wisconsin, supplies chips to Mexico.
That's awesome, man. So two Jewish kids from California come to Vancouver to make tortilla chips for Mexico.
And
sold by a half Indian, half white guy. That's a great story. See, that's a nice world. See how that was a colorful.
None of you knew how to make anything.
Exactly. All together, you guys are all useless. You put them together, it's not too bad. That's awesome.
I love this. So I have some really basic. I have lots of questions, but the basic was what the linkage. So forgive me if I don't see it, but the linkage between Nature's Path and Que Pasa is not exactly obvious. Like what? It seems like a great addition to what you're doing, but why?
Why that?
How? Why?
I mean, so Que Pasa's for sale. So what? Why that? There's a million other things.
Yeah. Like
that might have been
like totally
better
get
into the wheelhouse for whatever.
Yeah.
I grew up eating Que Pasa chips, and they always were the best chips. They're the crunchiest.
Yeah.
And as we learned more about the business as it was for sale, we saw like, wow, it's a family-owned business. The products are really unique and artisanally made. Like Que Pasa really makes tortillas, which are then put in a refrigerator for 8 hours and then loaded by hand into machine and hand cut. So we just fell in love with the business. And they actually use lava stones. We use lava stones from these volcanic mountains in Mexico to grind the corn, whole kernels of corn.
Wow.
And that's what we learned, that it's such a unique process that nobody does today, because you actually have to pay 2 people on staff full-time just to grind the stones. And all the big guys, Frito-Lay, et cetera, they use steel mills in the pattern of stones. And they say it's stone ground, but it's not really stone ground. Or they use aluminum dioxide with stone powder put on top of it. So to answer your question, we saw snacking really grow, and we thought it'd be very complimentary to us, and we love the product. So as a family-owned business, it's like it's your name. Every single one of our Nature's Path products, or even Love Crunch products, either has my name or my dad's name right on the package. And like I try our products every single day. I get what the plants made the day before. I have them at the office, and I try them because I love them. And
now you need to stand up and show me your love handles.
And once again, we're on a podcast, and we just don't do that.
Wow, this is so fantastic. What a great story.
So, okay, Arjan, you probably told the story 50,000 times, but Phil probably doesn't know it. So a quick and dirty, because I'm sure every single interview, every single podcast, Love Crunch. Quick and dirty. So Phil knows the story.
My wife and I met 11 years ago, and we got married 10 years ago. Okay. We met volunteering. We were at an event called Veggie Fest in Chicago, and my now wife, who I knew as a kid, but we lost contact, she went and volunteered at our booth at Veggie Fest. And we ended up dating. I proposed to her. And before the wedding, we asked all our guests to do a gift of giving in lieu of traditional wedding gifts. So some of our guests volunteered at soup kitchens, some worked with underprivileged kids and students. One of our friends went to a village in Peru and gave out soybeans to the village so they could grow soybeans there. We had friends in Germany. They went to a train station and handed out tulips with a love note on it. This was at the height of the Great Recession. And they took photos. They put it up on our wedding website at the time. And to thank them, we created Love Crunch. So my wife and I combined all of the most delicious organic ingredients you could imagine. So Italian dark chocolate granola, pecans, yogurt pieces, coconut, flax seeds, and we put it into this granola. We put our faces on the package. We had a wedding crossword on the back and all sorts of fun stuff. And we gave it to our guests. And we also sent it to our long-term partners that we've been dealing with, like Whole Foods and Costco. Kenny, did you get one of the original?
You bet, buddy.
Yeah, Kenny and London Drugs got one of the original packages of Love Crunch back then. And
probably should have kept it instead of eating it, but that's a different story. Didn't know it was a collector item at the time. It was just good.
Come on, man.
I was hungry. It comes to the office. I love their product. I eat their cereals, man. So shit. How was I supposed to know?
Wow, this is amazing. I'm looking at some of these boxes.
Yeah, within 2 days of giving to our guests, all of a sudden we started getting phone calls, emails, and text messages saying, where can I buy this? You guys have to launch this product. And we said, well, it was really just to, hand out at a wedding. It's the Great Recession right now. We don't know if people are going to pay, for ultra premium cereal.
Yeah.
And at the time, Whole Foods in the United States was very adamant. Like, no, we want to launch this with you. Please figure out a way. And, we'll put this in all of our stores and we'll make this a big launch for you. So we said, well, if we're going to do that, we want to make sure that the giving back component is still alive. So with Whole Foods, we partnered up with them, and for every box sold, we donated $1 to help these women entrepreneurs start their own business in the developing world. Some of them bought like goats or sewing machines and were able to help lift their families out of poverty by getting the supplemental income or bring their kids to school. And a lot of these countries, school isn't free, right? You have to pay money to put your kids in school.
Yeah.
So it quickly became the top 2 or 3 best-selling item we had in all of Whole Foods, this Love Crunch product. And after launching with Whole Foods, we said, hey, we're going to change it. And we're going to bring it to Canada. We're going to launch it in the United States and broadly everywhere. And with the second generation of Love Crunch, we decided to support food banks. And now for every bag of Love Crunch sold, we donate an equivalent amount of cash or food to food banks across North America with a minimum of $1 million. So last year we donated $4 million to food banks in organic food and cash. And this year we're well on track to meeting that same amount as well. So Love Crunch has paid it
That's
forward.
amazing.
This is why you got to buy Nature's Path's products.
Yeah.
See, they're good people. I told you.
Now we have 7 different varieties of Love Crunch today in the marketplace.
So you're killing me in multiple ways now. So one is, I can't believe this story. 2 is, I already have huge love handles. I'm going to go upstairs and eat more Que Pasa. Now I got to go buy cereal.
Go for a walk. You'll be fine.
So when we interview folks, in my head, I'm always thinking about podcast headlines, what I'm going to write. I've rewritten yours like 8 times now, and it's going to be like 8 paragraphs long because all of it's remarkable. Like, this is amazing. This is like really fantastic. Yeah, and I'm looking at the Love Crunch stuff. It looks amazing. Dark chocolate red berries, and then dark chocolate macaroons.
They're phenomenal because they're more decadent, and they're just the ingredients are good. They're super tasty.
Yeah,
like it's a good cereal. I mean, it's a nice way to start the day. Or people like me, I like cereal 24/7. So middle of the night, I don't care.
Man.
I like cereal.
Oh no, come on, cereal's like an all day.
To me, it
Anytime
is.
you want.
Oh, I get dinner cereal. I love cereal.
Yeah.
Oh, you better believe it.
This is the most delicious decadent granola that's on the marketplace. We tried over 30 different kinds of chocolate, and we finally found the best chocolate coming from Italy. And I'm going to send you some, Phil. It's really, really unique product.
No, you're not going to send me some. I'm going to go buy some because then I can also add to the donating thing. Thank you for offering to send me some. I'm just going to go buy some. Okay. Because that
it goes to a good
amazing.
Cause. It's good. It's
I want to help, right? I want to help. So that'd be amazing. So Kenny talked about all the countries you're in. Where I don't know if it's easier to ask you where you're not or where like how, so you started selling in Canada and the US, right? And now it sounds like you're everywhere, mainstream and natural food stores like Whole Foods and places like that. What does that look like, your kind of distribution or how you started to expand?
In the early days, we started selling mainly to health food stores. They took a risk to say, hey, organics, their consumer base was a little bit more enlightened. And then my dad actually, as an entrepreneur, he camped outside Loblaws headquarters, and he ran into the president of Loblaws at the time to get our heritage flakes listed at Loblaws. So that's kind of the story of how we got into the first grocery account in Canada. And the story with Costco is even funnier. Costco Quebec picked up our products first. We were the first organic product in Costco. And now they're the world's largest retailer of organic foods. But got the product into Costco. And then, like Costco does, they like changing things up, the treasure hunt. And they said, okay, we're going to be done with this rotation. Thank you very much, Nature's Path. We're not going to order from you for the next while. Maybe we'll order from you again in the future. Yeah. And what happened is that they had some remnants of product, and they put it up in the pallets, because they had their next
up in the rafters or whatever. Yeah, for next rotation.
And literally, their members were climbing up the pallet racks to get our product. So now, fast forward 25 years since we've been selling Costco, that product, and it's only sold in that one particular region, still carries that product today. And they tried to get out of it multiple times over the last 25 years. But every time they do, their members throw a fit.
You got to love that. Thank God.
That's amazing.
Thank God for loyal customers.
Oh my God.
So today we sell in 50 different countries, 52 to be exact. Our largest markets are North America. And then after that, it's United Kingdom, Mexico, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Jordan. A lot of it's little entrepreneurs who said, hey, I want to bring natural organic foods to my country. And we sign them up as exclusive distributors. We give them a good price, and it's their job to help build the brand in those little markets for us. And it's not a big money maker for us, especially some of these little markets, but it really is about making sure that organic foods is available and healthful foods are available in these markets that wouldn't have access to them otherwise.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at today. We have distribution in Target and Walmart, and London Drugs has been a fantastic supporter for us. Really amazing. Kenny did really great work, not just because he got our listings of Nature's Path and so on and so forth, but
I liked the cereal at that time because I wanted to make sure I used you guys. You and Kicking Horse were sort of the leverage into organics for us, mainstream. Like to get people into our stores wanting organics. I used you and Kicking Horse. Covered breakfast. And
you really supported local businesses, Kenny.
What else do you have? You shop our stores. We shop your products. If the locals don't support you, who's going to support you?
Yeah.
Right? You got no choice. I mean, you got to take care of the neighborhood. Then you got to take care of the city, the province, the country. You got to put us first to some degree. And you want to help everybody, but you want to put it here.
At the time, I think what you did was really revolutionary too, because you put us right in line with the rest of the.
Right beside it, baby. You want a cornflake? You can buy a Kellogg's, or you can buy a Nature's Path. You pick.
So
that that can't be understated, Kenny. Like Kenny gets all weird. Arjun.
I don't like talking about it, so we're not going to.
See, look, he gets all weird, but I'm gonna ignore him for a second. But it's revolutionary in so many ways because there's so many grocers that still don't do it. Gluten-free 10 years ago, you could find it in a tiny bottom shelf in the freezer, right? For spelt bread, and then completely unconnected, like 8 aisles over, you could find like a smattering of, small things here and there, right? And now, like, you still have grocers. My local grocer still keeps it in its own section, right? And you kind of go, this is archaic, right? Like, do you see the number of people standing in this little 4-foot section when you could have it mainstream? Like, it would take over and bring you so much more value in the mainstream, right? But not everybody does that still. So it definitely is.
It just made more sense. If you want to get people to try organics, why hide it? You put organic products next to the conventional products. I mean, you make a choice. It's up to you. You don't have to buy it if you think it's too expensive. And we always tried to keep the delta tighter than I think when I was listing, it was probably 50% more, which is too high. So we took a little lesser margin, maybe went down to 20, so that the jump isn't a quantum leap. I mean, who's going to do that?
Yeah.
But the only way to grow these categories, and mainstream grocers have to do stuff like this, is you have to put them close to the conventional. I mean, why hide it? First off, there's more money. It's a better consumer. They typically spend more. It's good for the planet. You look at all the things. I mean, there's no lose in it. It's all win, 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 win. So why not do it? Not rocket science.
Amen.
It's not that bright.
Arjun,
common sense.
What's that?
Uncommon common sense.
There you go. I'll go with that one.
Yeah, amen to that for sure.
Yeah,
for sure, man. Arjun, what's next for you guys? All of this is amazing. I'm not even sure. Yeah, I'm processing everything because it's such an amazing story. But what's next for you guys? Like for Que Pasa and also for Nature's and where do you go from here?
We think that organics should be in every home. And organics has made tremendous strides over the last 35 years that we've been around. My dad's been in the health food industry for the last 50 years. Nature's Path, last 35 years. And our big, hairy, audacious goal is that Nature's Path is the trusted brand for quality organic foods in every home. So that's every home in North America and around the world eventually. So, we've been very fortunate to have grown Que Pasa over the last 6.5 years. We're looking at opening up another facility in Eastern Canada to open up a third line. So we have one in the Midwest. Yes. Yeah.
Visitors pass. Just give me a. back my car up.
You'll be rolling in.
Tour. If you ever want a tour, I think we
Oh
took
my God.
you, Kenny, right, of the tour of Que Pasa.
No, I don't think you ever did.
If you want to, invitation's open.
Oh, you know, I would come out and visit you anyway. I don't, whatever, for sure.
Yeah, and
It's amazing.
so growing that, we know that organics needs to continue to grow. So we're looking at rebranding and looking at our company's packaging to really profile organics in a much more stronger way. You know, people have a lot of misinformation about organics.
Yeah.
And natural.
Yeah, agreed.
Natural means nothing. But sometimes you read these studies and natural to consumers, they put it higher than organic.
Right.
And you know,
I don't think they understand what organic means. I think a lot of them just think it's a bullshit line that people put on boxes. I really do. And they're not understanding it's the flip. The natural is the bullshit line. The organic is actually doesn't mean something. Like, I don't think they quite get the, the connect.
Yeah.
So how do you do that then? How do you educate? You guys have been doing this long enough by now. Come on. What's with people?
In the early days, it was just through our packaging. It's literally our packaging and telling the story on the packaging because we had no money.
Right.
We couldn't beat and we still can't beat the big guys at their game. You know, they're big ships.
Yeah.
But they have lots of resources.
Yeah.
They're getting more nimble now, the big food companies, but traditionally they've been very slow and not big risk takers. So for us, you know, I think what's really resonating for us is that everything we do is organic. We're not like a big multinational where they have 95% of their sales non-organic and they bought a bunch of organic food brands and they hide the connection between those and their parent company. Yeah. For us, it's everything we do. So it's like, you know, we're going to shout it from the treetops. We're going to be unabashed in our love of organics and our love of non-GMO foods. And we're going to put our money where our mouth is. And that's kind of what's helped grow our business over all these years is that trust that people have that when we say we're organic, consumers know that we're not bullshitting them.
Right. It's just important, right? I mean, you have to stand by it.
Yeah.
How have you found out? Because I just want to digress a little bit because otherwise we can go through the history thing and Phil's going to get a history lesson. We'll be doing this for 2-3 days. But I did want to pick your brains a little bit about sort of where you see retail right now. How's it been through COVID? How have you guys done? What's sales up, sales down? What are you finding?
We saw a massive pantry loading spike, and we ended the year with low inventory to begin with. So that really it was a good challenge. I mean, I've talked to so many other presidents and CEOs where, you know, food service businesses, restaurants, hospitality, personal services that saw their businesses tank and they had to lay everyone off within a couple of days. And, you know, those challenges are so hard. Fortunately for us, we didn't go through those challenges. Our challenges were, how do we keep up with demand? How do we simplify our product line so that we can get our best-selling items in stock?
Yeah. And
communicate with customers like, hey, you know, we're going to be out of stock on these particular items for the next couple months. Or we had to look at our supply chains very quickly. Some countries like Italy and the Philippines were very hard hit with, say, coconut and chocolate where we get from. And we had to really qualify additional sources of supply very quickly. We moved very quickly to look after our team members. So we had a guiding principle, which is care, compassion, and duty. Care for our team members, the first thing. Make sure that they're protected. They're essential workers going into our factories, making food. Having a lot of fear and anxiety about going into work. Are they going to get COVID? Are they going to put their families at risk? Some of them are elderly. Some of them are survivors of cancer. Some of them have diabetes. So how do we look after and protect our team members? That was the first thing we looked at. So before it was even mandated, we got everyone masks. We had temperature checks, all these things. But about a month and a half before it was mandated, just because we thought it was the right thing to do. And we installed plexiglass. As soon as we learned that Loblaws and other retailers put up plexiglass partition, went and bought plexiglass partitions for every place of our factory as well. We said, wow, that's a great idea. And then it was compassion. So our second value. And my mom, who is an immigrant to Canada, of Indian descent. She grew up in poverty. She said, look, if our sales are up, we need to donate more. We need to make sure that kids who are out of school get more food. The food banks get more food. Those people in nursing homes who might not have access to healthy organic food also get food donations. So she said, look, we need to up our food donations. So she committed additional $2.5 million on behalf of our company of food donations. And the last thing was duty. So we had to instill this purpose across everyone in the company, because we had some people saying, why are we still open? You know, there's a lot of companies who are shutting down. Why aren't we shutting down? And we had to explain to them, like, look, we have a duty to society to make sure healthy organic food still stays on store shelves. Otherwise, everything crumbles if there's not food on store shelves. And that was one of my biggest concerns in the first week, seeing all the empty store shelves and figuring out how we could get things back in stock. So that was our guiding principles. You know, as it relates to the retail market, like online quadrupled overnight, basically. Some of our customers said, like, every day is a Cyber Monday. I think Target actually put that out in their quarterly report. So, like, we've been trying to figure out how to adapt and to adjust to that, and become more efficient, and e-commerce and digital. So I think those are some of the big things. And people are working more from home, more than ever before. So they're going to be continuing to buy more healthy organic foods. And we see this trend continuing for at least the next 8 months, a year. I hope there's no major second wave. Of course, we've seen some spikes in different.
Realistically, you know as well as we do, it's common.
Yeah.
It's coming. We're gonna be going into the cold season. We're gonna be back inside. Kids will be in school. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting fall.
Yeah.
You know,
they're gonna eat more cereal. I can tell you this. Like, so I'm like,
I have no issues with that. I have absolutely no issues with that.
I've always worked from home to some measure, but cereal is like the go-to. You know, you grind through the morning. You have coffee, maybe some toast for breakfast. Grind through the morning, and like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock rolls around. I look up and realize I don't need anything. I don't want to cook something now, or I'm going to run into dinner. I'm grabbing cereal. Like I 100% will have cereal easily once a day, if not twice a day. So
I have cereal almost every night at about 10:30.
Yeah.
I do. I like cereal. I like it in the morning. I like it at lunch. I like it in the evening. I like eating cereal. I find it very comforting.
Yeah.
You're a cereal user, Kenny. We get some letters from people like you. Yeah. And we got one letter from a consumer. It was a woman, actually. She loved one of our products so much, she was eating it 3 times a day. She said she lost like 30 pounds, and she proposed to her fiance by writing out, "Will you marry me?" with our cereal flakes. And she sent us a picture.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Well, just so you know, I'm already married, so that part's done. And I definitely ain't losing any weight. And I'm not standing up either.
You're only eating twice.
Hey, I've gone from dairy to almond milk, so I cut my calories there. I can eat more cereal.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What a great story. Thank you for being part of this show. We're really grateful that you're able to make it.
I'm glad you came on, buddy. Thank you very much. I appreciate you doing this. I really do. I thought it'd be just you'd be a cool guest to have 100%. Come on. The story's cool. Yeah. Richard Lote says hi. I talk to him once a month now. He'll Skype me from Singapore just to catch up. But I told him you were probably coming on. Oh, say hi to Arjan. See how he's doing.
Yeah. He was a unique character, and like we were
what a great young man.
Yeah. Kenny introduced us, and he said, "Look, you're doing such great work. You guys are doing work with the food bank. Support his 5 Whole for Food initiative." And we said, "Yeah, let's do it." And it's such a great initiative, and London Drugs and you, Kenny, were so strongly behind it, and I think that was one of the things I was most proud of from a giving back sponsorship sort of initiative, and it was in part your brainchild too. You really worked hard with Richard.
Supported Richard on that one. It was all him. I was more like you. I think it was just one of those things that it made me feel good to just try to do something. One, to support him because he's such a nice young man, and two, I just thought it was such a creative way to give, and having you guys was like an absolute no-brainer fit. Like it was just one of those things that just should happen, right?
It's so funny. I think about a year ago, Richard reached out to me, and he sent me a picture of Nature's Path in Inner Mongolia.
That's amazing.
He's like, how the heck did this get here? I'm like, I have no idea.
Whatever. That's awesome.
You know, it's so funny because once I was walking in Kitsilano, and there's this little convenience type store, and I walked in, I saw all these packages. It was English. It was packages from the United Kingdom. I was like, and I walked into a bunch of stores, and they all had them. And I was like, how did you guys get this? And then I found out a truckload of our cereal was stolen. It was on the way to England, and it got stolen, and somehow it started showing up in all these convenience stores all around Vancouver.
That's awesome. It went through East Van. Didn't quite make it to the airport or the port. That's awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
But
oh man,
it was a unique package, and at the end of the day,
what the hell?
We got insurance for it, but
that's all good, right? It's all good. It's all good.
Oh man. Arjan, if folks want to be able to find you, where do they find you and Nature's Path? And
we're on Facebook and Instagram, Nature's Path, Que Pasa, Love Crunch, Twitter. My Instagram handle is Arjan Organic. I give a more behind the scenes look at what happens in our company. Kind of funny.
His social media is awesome, Phil. You should follow him. I get a kick out of it. He does a lot of really cool personal. It's because I know you. It's you. Like, and that's what I try to tell people. If people say, "Oh," I said, "No, you trust me, man. That is him." Like, it's not a bullshit story. That's him. It's really good. You do a really good job with it. Like, seriously, a really good job with it.
Thank you. So my nieces are actually interning in the company right now.
And
so
why not?
Some videos with them. They're the third generation now in the family.
More free labor.
Yeah, exactly.
that never ends, apparently.
Okay, so how many times did you have to shoot this video where you got the tortilla in the Que Pasa jar?
They were amazing. I did it on my second try.
Really?
They said
what are you going to say, Phil? We can't prove him wrong. He could have been there for 4 days. What the hell is he going to say? He can't say the first time because we won't believe him. So he says the second try. What are you going to say? Good for you.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh,
Very cool.
I just followed you. That's fantastic. I will put all of the contact links in the show notes as usual. Arjan, thanks for joining us. This is amazing. We're so glad you could make it.
Great story. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. Seriously. Thank you.
Deep respect to both you, Phil.
Likewise. You know that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
My friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care.
Take care of yourself, buddy. We'll
Bye,
chat
guys.
soon. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow.
Come on, I told you. That's a great story.
Wow.
Like, seriously, it's such a great story.
It's a wicked story.
And it's true. Like, his mom is really focused and like a very bright woman. Like, definitive. I mean, obviously I think the dad is the driver in terms of he's the go, but I think mom is kind of the brains. Didn't want to say it like that on the show, but I think that's what it is. I think, it's a very cool thing to see a married couple do what they've done, and to have the kids now involved and the grandchildren involved.
Yeah. That's something phenomenal. There's something really special about visionaries like that.
Oh,
like, you know, like, because one of the simplest things, right, is, and you and I talk about it all the time, is you just got to follow through, right? So when you decide something, you got to follow through. But then every now and then what you see is there's like this 2% of just, I don't mean 2% from a disrespect. There's just like this small element of, you know, they see a perspective that nobody else sees. And like combine that with this incredible determinedness they have. And it's
just this drive and perseverance. And they just know in their heart of hearts that they're right. Even though they keep getting kicked and sort of being told they're wrong, they just don't give in.
No.
They keep pushing and pushing. I mean, I look at that.
Six refinances later. Like, nope, like, I got this.
Oh my God.
I know this is right.
Amelia would have killed me. I wouldn't even ask.
I don't think I could survive that many.
Like, I don't even know if I could ask the first mortgage. I don't think I could do. Yeah. Like, seriously.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't.
But that's a testament to them too. Like, again, you know what? They obviously both believed it and they believe in each other. And probably, I'm sure they probably wanted to kill each other. But at the same time, I mean, that's a big freaking deal. That's a lot of.
No, it's amazing.
That's commitment.
Honestly.
But it's kind of when Amelia listened finally to our podcast in the car, and we, you know, listen to even to Fardad's story. Like, you think how his mom and dad came over. You know, and they came and they don't have anything, and then they lose jobs and then they're out of money. Like, it's just going sideways. And yet she sees an opportunity and, you know, just
makes it happen.
Yeah. They go. And then they do all the free labor with the kids, like everybody else, all the other ethnic families. I love it because that's how you do it, right? Just use the kids. Yeah. But come on. I mean, what great stories. Like, I just find it fascinating how these people do it.
Fabulous. It's fabulous.
Very cool.
Love it. Very cool, man.
That's it.
Thanks for setting this one up.
No, my pleasure. I'm glad we could do it.
Yeah.
Glad we could do it. I sent you a couple emails today on a few others.
Yeah. I'll have a look at those.
As you can tell, I think you would like the one that I think you would like Richard. I think he's just a great young man. Like, just a great young man. Yeah. Great story. And just one of those entrepreneurial types that and it's very similar to Arjan in that, you know, the giving back and like not our generation, like this other generation that actually does things for the right reasons. Yeah. And does it for the right reasons, not
for good reasons.
Yeah, we do it because we think, oh, there's a buck in there. Oh, that's a good cause too.
Make some money. You know,
exactly. Driven a little differently.
Yeah. I'm trying to line up open phone as well. Those guys, I know those guys, so I'm just trying to find her. So I'm hoping I get her on as well.
Yeah, right.
So we'll sort them all out and I'll get them all lined up. So it should be amazing.
We could plug through.
Yeah.
It'd
be amazing.
Let me know.
It's awesome. I get to go to bed early tonight. Yeah.
Are you going to be okay? It's only 7:00 for you. Like,
I don't know what I'm going to do with myself, to be honest.
You'll be sitting there tonight at about 11 thinking, well, what am I supposed to do now?
I know. Kathy's going to be like, really? You know what? Just stay downstairs because you're going to move around. You're going to watch stuff. You're going to keep me awake. It's going to
irritate me. So just go back downstairs and pretend you're doing a podcast.
Go talk to you. Go, stick a mic in your face and go record yourself. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Go do something.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Man.
Awesome.
I have one more. I don't know if she's going to keep listening. I just wanted to say hello. There is a lifetime friend that I haven't seen in a long time. She's my sister's friend. Her name is Judy Banerjee. Mm-hmm. Judy, I apologize because Judy has a married name and I don't know what it is. I think it's Vandenbos. But she's anyway, she's a lifelong friend. She apparently listens to the show. So
that's nice. Thank you.
Say thank you for listening to the show.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
We made up to be about 20 people now. We're crushing it, man.
We're killing it.
Because we can't count my mom and dad. Can't count the boss anymore because Linda listens all the time. That's not that fun.
Yeah.
It's like family. It's like we got.
I know.
Got a couple
we did. So if Amelia comes back, then we've got a new user.
That's not likely.
No?
Just let that one go. So 137 epos before she kind of clues in. Like, seriously? Come on. God bless her, but really?
But she might listen to Arjan. No?
It was all Fardad. It's all about Fardad. Come on.
So I should just put Fardad in the show notes for this week.
Just keep showing his picture. She'll see it probably on LinkedIn or on Facebook. And we have Fardat again. Yeah, we do.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
It's all good.
Awesome.
Okay, my
Thanks,
friend.
dude.
That's good. It's only an hour tonight too. Holy, 7 o'clock. I really don't know what you're going to do. I hope you're going to be okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
You don't hear from me. You don't see me for a week.
We had that before. I don't want to lose you again. I'm stressed out when I can't find you, so it's good.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
All right.
You have a very nice weekend. It's a long weekend for all of us too. That's right. So
it is.
You guys, what is it for you? Is it on? Do you guys call it Ontario Day? Like it's BC Day for us.
I have no idea. No, it's just a civic holiday for us.
Oh, okay.
No name for it. It's just a day off because
then
all the other provinces are doing.
Enjoy the long weekend.
You too.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
I'll chat with you next week. Okay, man.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Okay. Bye.
All right. That's the end of this Commerce Life. We'll be back soon with the next episode. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. Give us feedback. Tell us what you think. Subscribe, like us, join us, share us, tell your friends about us. And we hope to see you next time with more commerce news.